I don't think there's any way I could have avoided, what happened to me. Just a regular routine tackle. I tried to brace myself for the fall, and just my shoulder just, did what it did. There's nothing I could do about that. Changing my game, my play style, I don't feel like there's anything wrong with my play style. People see me, I'm a big quarterback, so they always think, oh, he wants to run the ball all the time. He wants to be physical, and that's what's going to get him hurt. When that's not the case. The times I did get hurt, is the one time, the one concussion, that was me completely because I slowed down by the end zone. You're never supposed to do that. And then everything else, it just happened because we played a dangerous game, and there's nothing I can do about that. But necessarily changing my play, I don't think I want to change it. But, being smart, knowing when to get extra yards and knowing when to get down, I feel like I know how to do that. It's just, now I have to do it and do it at the right time, I guess. So I don't think I'm going to change anything, but being smarter for the team, of course.
But that's the change. He's getting there. I'm not going to give him a hard time. I'm not going to change my playing style, but I need to be smarter about getting down and getting rid of the ball. That's the point. Don't change the way you play. Change the way the plays end. Get down, get the ball out of bounds, throw the ball away, live to see another day. The Colts aren't going to be everything they can be if Anthony Richardson suffers an injury that knocks him out for the season or for a month of the season. You have to be on the field to fulfill your team objectives and to reach your own maximum potential. You've got to be on the field. There are ways to adjust your playing style to ensure you're on the field, and we're well past the days of making fun of Jim Everett because he took a seat in the pocket. Peyton Manning did it, and we're like, wow, that's really smart. That's where we are now. Quarterbacks need to find a way to avoid a hit. Every hit you take is that hit that can cause your shoulder to do what it did, and you're out for the rest of the year.
Yeah, you got to be smart. There's got to be, you got to learn that, hey, wait, I'm in a vulnerable position right here, or I don't like this spot. The hell with the extra 3 or 4 yards. I'm going to go down, right? And again, it's just another lesson of just we always talk about. The NFL is a different beast when it comes to physicality, contact, the way the game is played. I don't care who you are, the specimen you are, right? Coming out of college, it's different. It's grown men. They're not out of position much, and they're crazier in the NFL than in college. They are. I've only seen one quarterback that can that's made it playing kind of reckless, and that's Josh Allen so far. I mean, he's the only one where every year we're just like, well, we give up on sliding and doing all of that. He's adjusted a little, but he's the only one that can survive what I've seen playing that physical brand of football at the quarterback position.
They still don't unleash.
And it's going to catch up to him, Josh Allen.
Unleash him as a runner as much
They're
as maybe
tactical.
the fans think
they save him from himself. Yeah.
Every hit is the hit that can cause him to be out for the rest of the year. You kind of hold your breath a little bit every time you see a quarterback decide to run. And then you get the guys who decide along the sideline, and the two big examples for me are Jimmy Garoppolo and before that RG3. Instead of just getting out of bounds, deliver the hit. What happened? Garoppolo tears an ACL. Griffin, in his first game with the Browns, remember it was week 1 against the Eagles. He injured his shoulder or something up in that area, and he was out for a long time. You just get out of bounds and set that stuff aside and go back to the huddle and get to the next snap.
Yeah, so I really wholeheartedly agree with this, and it's such a tough thing to figure out because Colin Cowherd, for those of you who watch Colin, he talks about how you can't coach reckless. You can't coach out aggression, that it's very difficult to do, that players who are reckless just don't seem to are able to get that out of them. And it's interesting. You often also can't teach people to be more aggressive. A lot of times the coaches will say, it's easier for someone to be really aggressive and pull them back, which is kind of the opposite of saying that you can't coach reckless out, which I guess maybe reckless and aggressive are kind of two different things in this example. But my one concern is, first of all, I loved everything Anthony Richardson said, right? He didn't give this macho, I'm not going to change anything. I'm going to play, and blah, 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 blah. He didn't do that. He admitted, hey, I don't really think I did anything too wrong, but I definitely still got to be smart, knowing when to get down, when to do this, when to do that, which I loved. And then he said, yeah, the one concussion was definitely my fault. I made a mistake. I think that was great accountability, and I love it. And now I just am curious, though, where Shane Steichen comes into play with this, because Shane Steichen, when he was the offensive coordinator, and for those of you who don't know, I am a massive Shane Steichen fan. I think Shane Steichen is a top coach in the NFL and a top offensive mind and a total offensive genius. No doubt in my mind. So what I'm about to say about Shane Steichen, do not take it as me trying to bash or hate on Shane Steichen, because I'm really high on the Colts, and Anthony Richardson and Shane Steichen together, I think can do magic. I think they can genuinely set the NFL on fire. I really, really do. But they have to stay healthy. And the thing is that Shane Steichen and I assume he's grown, because coaches grow and evolve and change and learn just like players do, just like anyone in the world does. But with Jalen Hurts, there was a lot of times where, and again, the media, the fans, like a lot of people were questioning, like, why is Jalen Hurts taking these hits near the end of games when they're up by 14 or whatever, the game is clearly already won, and you have Jalen Hurts kind of running down the field, like what you're doing designed runs, like what are we doing here, right? And it's like, it was a big problem. He got hurt in the Bears game with his shoulder and had to miss a few games, and it could have been worse enough where he couldn't have then played in the Super Bowl, like even make it to the playoffs. The Eagles were very lucky that injury only took him down for a few weeks, and he was clearly still not really 100% necessarily. And that proved to be a problem. And it was during a play where you were just like, why was this called? The Eagles are completely rolling. They have all this momentum. They have the number one seed. They're ready to go. Everyone is scared of them. Why are you putting the quarterback in a position to get hurt? Now, it's hard. It's hard to know when it's the quarterback and when it's the play caller, when it's the game plan, right? So you don't really know, is Shane Steichen to blame in that moment? Can Sirianni whispering to Shane, you just don't really know how the ins and outs of that specific organization is being run in that specific moment. So it's hard to ever blame one person. You could blame, and maybe it's all Jalen. Maybe Jalen, is dialing up his own number in that moment. And maybe Shane has told him a million times, get down, stop taking hits, and Jalen Hurts is just not doing it. We know that was the case with Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz kept putting himself in a situation to get injured, and you're trying to say, stop it, and he still won't. That's actually when Colin, I think, specifically talked about saying, stop being reckless. A lot of these big athletic dudes like Josh Allen are taking all these extra hits, and guess what? It's going to catch up to Josh Allen one day. No one's invincible. It's just you right now you are, but eventually you're not, and you will most likely shorten your career, and it's a bummer, right? We saw this with Cam Newton. So Anthony Richardson needs to both evolve and grow, right, and play smarter, but still not lose what made him special, and still continue to grow and evolve as a quarterback as a whole, right? Let's say, and I'm not saying that he's just a running quarterback, but let's just be really generic here. And let's say scrambling and then turning that into a 15-yard gain is what makes Anthony Richardson really special, right? That's what makes him so special, because he does it better than anyone else. And again, I'm just making stuff up and being as generic as possible. And that's how he was able to get into the NFL. That's why he's so special. That's fine, right? But let's say now that same special opens up the door for you to get hurt, to get injured, and to really knock you out. It's your job now to evolve, because there's some people that say, well, that's what got you there, so that's what's going to keep you there, or that's what worked for you in the past, that's what you have to keep doing to keep going to the next level. And it's no, as a professional, and especially when you have the good coaches around you like a Shane Steichen, your job is to now figure out, okay, how can I harness this? How can I do this but minimize the injury risk? Maybe it's actually what's more special is scrambling, and instead of now sacrificing my body and going for 15 yards, maybe really all I need to do is just get those 5 yards. That's enough to keep the drive going. That's enough to move the chains. That's enough to keep the defense on their toes, and that's all I need to do. I don't need to do more than that. Maybe it's all I do is need to be able to scramble and evade and keep buying time, and maybe I just throw the ball away. Maybe that's actually how you evolve and grow. Maybe it is to go off on that 15-yard run, but you absolutely at all costs have to get down. no question. Even though sometimes that 15-yard run can turn into a 50-yard run and you can score for a touchdown, it doesn't matter. As soon as you get 15, 20 yards, you just go down, even if it looks like you can keep going. And again, this is a very made-up scenario, but the point that I'm trying to emphasize is the growth and evolving, that just because something makes you special doesn't mean it still needs to be your identity. Quite frankly, what made Patrick Mahomes so special and why people were all over him was because when he hit the ground, when he came into the NFL and all his arm angles and scrambling and crazy throws, that's what made him special initially. But right now what's making him special is just making the right play at the right time again and again and again. Yes, he still does Patrick Mahomes stuff, but not as much as he did in the past. Just the numbers even prove that. He just plays great, fundamental, consistent football. That's how they're winning. That's how they're winning. He's just making the right play virtually every time. He's not making all the oh my God, I can't believe he just did that play. He didn't have really any of those last season, and yet they still won the Super Bowl because that's what the Kansas City Chiefs needed. You evolve and you grow. And that's what my hope is Anthony Richardson will be able to do. And I believe Shane Steichen should be able to get him there because I know Shane Steichen knows. Believe me, when Jalen Hurts went down and hurt his shoulder, I'm sure Shane Steichen was like, oh my God, what just happened? And if it was because of his play call, if it was because he didn't do a good enough job coaching that out of Jalen Hurts, believe me, then that haunted Shane Steichen. If it had nothing to do with him and it was all on Jalen and that was just the way it goes, or if you want to say it was more of just a freak accident, that's fine. But I'm confident that Shane Steichen is actually poised to be able to help Anthony Richardson understand this because he has worked with a mobile quarterback in Jalen Hurts, has had success, went to a Super Bowl, specifically coaching that offense. He was in charge of that entire offense, play calling, everything. The Eagles went to the Super Bowl because of that great offense. And so that can't be understated. It just can't. So I just think Anthony Richardson is in a great place with Shane Steichen, and I think he will be smarter and will hopefully learn and grow to avoid injury. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? Do you think Anthony Richardson needs a change? Do you think it was just, hey, this is football, this is what happens? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.